Hello, everybody in internet land. Hello, Pink Werewolf. How are you doing tonight? I hope you are doing well. How's that audio? Is that audio too loud? Is it overpowering? Good, 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 good. All right. Well, this stream should be interesting because I'm I'm good. Tonight's stream should be a little bit interesting because I'm flying by the seat of my pants tonight. Just so much going on between work and family. I decided to, instead of having a tutorial and then doing putting things to practice, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just troubleshoot a problem. And the problem that was asked of me is, how can you take a straightforward walk that's been motion captured and make that walk go around a circle? So I have been thinking about it, and let me see here. I have been thinking about it, and Monday when I was driving home from work, I had this epiphany of like, I think I know how to solve this problem. So I guess I should start. Well, let me pull in a character real fast so we can pull in my worker character. So at least there's something to look at on the screen. And I'm going to pull in some motion capture. So merge in my motion capture. This is literally from scratch. I'm doing this from scratch. All right. There should be a skeleton. There he is. There's the skeleton. All right, so like I was saying, I've got this walk forward, and you can see he's flipping out there. That's because there's gimbal on the hips. It's a simple fix. Let me grab his hips. Go to the F curves and rotation. You can actually see the gimbal happening right here because it doesn't know which direction to go in. So that's easy to fix. Let me go hip filters, gimbal killer, preview. Oh, undo. Gimbal killer, make sure I'm not missing any settings. There he goes. Preview and accept. And that fixed all the gimbal that was on that hips. It's just when it exported from the motion capture software, it was Blade that is exported from. It didn't know which way it was facing, so it kept flipping it back and forth. But now we got a nice smooth walk. So to kind of reiterate, since a few people have joined us, on my YouTube channel, there was a question that was asked. The question was, how can I make a straight walk where the character's walking straight forward? How can I make that walk turn a corner? How can I make this character go around in a corner? And that is not something that I've done really without actually going in and hand keying something or splicing the walk cycle into a bunch of story and getting the story to go around. And there's some hanky-janky stuff that I've done in the past. But when I was driving home from work on Monday, I had this epiphany of, wait, I think I know how to solve this problem. How can I take a straight walk and get this walk to go around a corner? And I'm going to do this from scratch. Like, this character, this mocap, has this even been characterized? Let me check. It has been characterized. That's good. But I need to get this straight walk on this character, and I need to get him to walk around a corner. I need him to walk straight, go around a corner, and then continue on a straight path. And I think I figured out the solution. So let's see if I can make this work. Oh, and by the way, a little teaser. I'm going to tease you now with it. I have some really interesting news for next week's stream. And this might be an ongoing thing. stay tuned because I'm going to have a little teaser at the end of this broadcast. All right, so let's get this guy working. So I'm going to go to my motion capture guy. I'm going to hit activate on his stance. And I'm going to scale this guy down. Let me get my other guy into his stance as well. Oh, so this character came in from an earlier version of Motionbuilder, this worker character. In 2019 and 2018, if you're pulling in files that have been characterized from earlier versions of Motionbuilder, what you need to do is you need to go to that character's definition and uncharacterize them and recharacterize them. I'm just going to do that real fast. Don't ask me why it resets it, it just does. All you have to do is turn it off and then turn it back on. And it's fixed. So if you have weird things happening in your character, just turn off the characterization and turn it back on. Also, if you have weird things happening with your control rig, you can just go over here and delete your control rig and create a brand new control rig. So, all right, so let's get this mocap scaled down. I'm going to scale the mocap to fit the character, or close to it. Scale that down there, right about there-ish. I'm kind of looking at the hips, and I'm kind of looking at the arm length right now, and kind of where all the joints are lining up. Maybe a hair more, maybe right there. All right, well, we'll see if this works. Go to my character, settings. Let's go to, he's going to be controlled by the character. And if I hit play, oh, my mocap is in stance mode. Let's turn that off. If I hit play, you can see he's walking. It looks like his weapon bone is still constrained, so I should probably go turn that off. So see, hand to rig, rig to hand. So I want it there. Now it's just kind of, that weapon joint's moving all over the place. So I'm just going to zero that out in local space. So yes, this whole broadcast this time is just going to be me problem solving how to get this guy to run around a corner. Hey, Pink Werewolf, you're awesome. Thank you for that tip. Come here, Lupin. Come here. Oh, Lupin. Lupin says thank you. All right. Luna, come here. Oh, now Luna says thank you. Oh, thank you for the tips. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You are awesome. All right, so where was I? So now he's going to be walking forward. I'm going to go through here and I'm going to do all the character settings that that we've talked about in past tutorials. So I'm going to go to solving, retargeting, and offsets. And I'm going to match source. That's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to turn on my pull on my feet. I wish I had markers. When this mocap was delivered, it didn't have the markers that came along with it, so it's a little difficult. Mass center compensation, I'm going to turn that down. Ankle height compensation, let me see, where is he on the floor with his foot? I also don't have the ROM, so it's a little bit difficult to get a really good retarget without like a master ROM. Get his feet spacing. Get those in a little bit more in alignment. Let's get his hips level. Crank that up just a bit, just to where his knee stops straightening. I'm going to lift him up a little bit as well. And then usually history has dictated that it's good to push his hips forward just a little bit. Just a bit. Start turning on some of these other retargeting constraints in the chest. A little bit here in the spine. Let's get his head and hands. A little bit on those knees, probably a little bit on those elbows. Not much. Doesn't need very much. Especially since we're just doing a walk. So there we go. Now he's walking. I feel like that's pretty cool. That's a cool walk. It's kind of a cool guy walk. I'm a cool guy. I'm walking. Here I go. All right. I think I'm good. I don't think we have to do too much more on this. We're not really concentrating on retargeting, but we're going to concentrate on motion editing this into a run around in a circle. Got barking little dogs over here. All right. So let's plot this down. Plot to skeleton. Plot to control rig. I'm going to go grab this mocap. I'm going to throw it into a group and hide it just to make it more manageable. Now I need to get him straightened up, right? Because he's walking at an angle. So I've talked about this in the past. Usually when we edit or we capture motion, we usually have the actor walk across the longest distance possible, which is usually in a volume. It's usually rectangular or square. So you're walking across that from one corner to the other corner diagonal. I think he actually has a couple frames here of dead space for whatever reason. I think I'm going to start him in this passing pose, right foot down passing. That's frame 4, so I'll put 4 there. So crop that out. Let's go to story. Hey, thanks for the subscription. You're awesome. I wish I could read that name, but the blue kind of disappeared into my screen. I couldn't read it. Oh, Travdar. Hey, Travdar, how's it going? I think you might like this. This is kind of cool. All right, so let's get in here. Let's do the insert character animation track. Let's grab our character, insert the current take. Don't care about that. Okay. Click on my little eyeball. You can see the spline that he's walking down. Let's zero that out. Now, if all you remember my tip of the day a couple weeks ago, I talked about how we can get this to go straight down in axes, and that happens under properties. You go down to 3D settings, and you can actually rotate them right here and get the character to walk exactly where you want him to. In this case, I want him to go -90. So what it's doing in Motionbuilder is it sees here's the beginning point, here's the end point. It knows what that angle is. Doesn't matter what he's doing in the middle. He'd be like running in circles, and it will take those 2 points and it will. It'll say this is the direction, this is the angle you're walking in, this is the line of the path. So there we go. Now he's walking. So let's plot that down. And I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm just going to turn story off for now. Just turn story off. Hey, thank you for the follow. All right, so now he's walking down that path. All right, so now I've got him walking straight. Now we're going to ask, how are we going to get this? How how are we going to get this character to walk in a circle? And here's where the cleverness happens. So let me take a minute to talk about cost of motion capture while this guy plays. So you have something to look at other than me. So if I want, okay, so the director comes in and says, I need this guy to walk around the corner. I'm like, great. Am I going to be allowed to go motion capture this? And the director says, no, you can't motion capture it for various reasons. You need to get him to walk around this. He needs to go, he's walking down the street and needs to go around the corner, walk down the other street. 90 degrees, let's say. Now you can start adding up the cost of motion capture. Well, one, do you have a motion capture space that you can actually have access to? Like at my job, I actually have a motion capture space. But then you have to say, well, how long is it going to take to capture this? Well, it's going to take about 15, 20 minutes to get the system calibrated and ready to go. It's going to take another 15 minutes to get an actor markered up. It was probably just use local talent that's in the studio. Then it's probably going to take another 15, 20 minutes to actually capture the motion. It's a simple motion, so it'll probably take another 15, 20 minutes to actually clean and solve the data, retarget it to the characters, probably a good another 30 minutes. And then you have a really nice clean piece of data. But let's think about this. You got me probably directing what needs to happen. You've got my actor on stage. I got my motion capture specialist, and then who knows? I might have one other person who's a tech on set who's looking make sure that the actor is hitting their marks. So that's a good 4 salaries over the course of a couple hours. So you kind of have to take that kind of cost for motion capture into consideration, and it's cheap because we're doing it locally in the office, right? Now imagine if you actually had to go book a stage. Now you're having to wait to book the stage. You're having to plan a day, and if you're outsourcing it to another studio, about $350. Yeah, you're looking at a lot of money and a lot of time to do a pickup shoot to get a guy to go around the corner, and at some point you have to ask yourself, is the time and cost to get this done worth it? Is there something I can do that will work in the intern? Now, like I said, you could probably hand key something, or you can hack something together, or you can do something that I had this epiphany. Yeah, you don't want to mark up the Loch Ness Monster. Yeah. I don't blame you. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do, I don't want to destroy this take. This is a good walk forward. I'm going to use this later. So I'm going to create a new take, and it's going to say copy data from current take to new take. I'm going to say yes. So I've now copied the data to a new take, take 2. And usually it's a really good idea to start naming your takes so you don't get confused on what's what. Like I have take 1 in here. I could probably easily get take 1 confused. So I'm just going to delete take 1. And I'm going to go to take 2. I'm going to call this turn or something. It's just a temporary name for right now. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go over to my asset browser. And I'm going to grab a marker, and I'm going to drop that in my scene. Can't see it, but it should be there. There it is. All right, I put that at 0. Character starts at 0. I'm going to move this off to the side somewhere. Groups, see properties. I'm going to go take my marker. I'm just going to make it a little bit easier to read for myself. I'm going to change it to a hard cross and scale it up so I can easily see it. Gosh, let's see here. I'm going to change the color too, just because I don't want to work with a red marker. All right, so I've got my marker. This is going to become the pivot point of the radius. That's going to be the circle that I'm walking in. So one of the things I'm going to have to take into account is gate. I'm going to have a very specific circumference that I'm going to be walking in this circle, or quarter circle. So let's see here. Let's try an experiment. Let's get rid of these. Like I said, this whole tutorial today is going to be about problem solving and trying to figure out how to make this work. So I'm going to create an auxiliary effector for his hips. I'm going to take that auxiliary effector. I'm going to parent it to my node, and you're probably seeing where I'm going here with this. Let me turn this off so it doesn't have any influence over him. So you can see, it's kind of hard to see that magenta box, but you can see how it's rotating out. I'm going to use this marker to actually rotate my character. But the first thing I need to do is bake down my animation. If I play my animation forward, you can see that auxiliary effector I created is there's no animation on it. So I'm just going to plot down. All right. So now it's moving with him, and I can actually come in here and I can turn that back on. And technically, this marker is now driving him. So now I'm going to go into my F curves, and I'm going to go into my Z, and you can see this is the forward that he's moving on Z. I'm just going to go ahead and zero that out. So it's zeroed. So now he's just walking in place. I'm going to start working on an animation layer because I think it's really good to be working on an animation layer. If I wanted to, I could probably even add a character extension and add this node as a character extension, and then it would be an extension of him, and I could create poses and bake things down and stuff like that. But for now, yeah, yes, layers are always good. So I'm going to take him and I'm going to 1, 2, see, where does he start? Left foot down, 1, 2, 3. We're just experimenting. I'm going to rotate this 90. So bump, bump, like that, and set a key. So now he's walking, but still doesn't have the right curve, right? So let's look at the rotation on that. You can see that it's got an auto curve on here, so it's easing in and easing out. And we don't want that. We want linear. Go back to my classic mode. See, I want linear. There we go. So now he's kind of walking around the corner, but his feet are sliding and slipping, and I don't think that the circumference that he's walking is quite right. So I'm going to set a key on the auxiliary effector. Now I can play with that. And play with it on the X. So I can now move him in and out, and I can move him a little bit closer. So I think he needs to be a little bit closer. It's a little bit better. So what I'm looking for is I'm looking to see how much his feet are slipping on the ground. If he's really far out, for example, let me see if I can put him really far out here. Let's say he's like way out here. You can see how much he's gliding and sliding. He's ice skating across the ground. We don't want that. So I'm gonna pull it in. I'm gonna make it a little bit tighter. I'm trying to figure out his gait. And I'm trying to figure out if I lock his foot to the ground and he's moving forward, will the legs IK? Because I don't want the legs to IK out and lock up. So that looks about right. So he's left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. $58, 57. Let's try frame 57. It's not too bad. I think we go to frame 57. So I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to crop to frame 57. And I'm only worried about this curve he's walking on. And I'm just gonna look at them. I'm going to study what's going on here before I bake anything down and have to redo a bunch of work. Again, experiment. Whenever you get something and you're working on something, yeah, you may have learned one way to do it, but sometimes there's other ways to do something in Motionbuilder with motion capture and motion editing, and it's really good to get in there and just experiment and figure out other methods, because when you do that, all of a sudden things go, wow, I can wait. If I add a node here and add a constraint here and time it just right, I'm going to get a better result, and maybe a faster result. Workflow is everything, especially in a high pressure environment like a video game. That's true. If you're like, I don't want to lose what I currently have, you can create a new take and say like turn version 2. You're absolutely right. Happy little trees. It's a happy little trees animation. Happy little curve. So I'm looking at it. I'm trying to figure out if his feet are, if I can make this better. He might be at the right distance. I'm going to try to be non-destructive as I go through and edit this, so that if I have to go back a few steps, I can. So I think the next thing I should do is I should plot this down. I'm going to plot him down, plot to skeleton, plot to control rig. Now, because he's plotted down, I can actually delete that auxiliary effector, and he's just walking around a curve now, even though his feet are sliding. He's no longer being controlled by this. But that will be kind of my guide for now. Alright, so now let's look at his feet and his contacts, because I have an idea for getting his feet to stick. So he comes down, he goes heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe. I think before I do anything else, I think I need to make him feel like he's walking around a corner, because right now he doesn't feel like he's walking around a corner, right? He feels kind of like a guy walking forward being forced to go around a corner. So let's do a couple little edits real fast. Go ahead and save this, just in case we crash. Oh yeah, he has this interesting, the way he plants his foot, it's like the outside of his heel strikes, and then it kind of rolls and comes in to be flat. Yeah. All right, so what do you do when you go around a corner? Well, first thing you're going to do is you're actually going to look. You're going to look around the corner. So as he walks, I'm going to have him look in the general direction. Right here, he's probably looking straight down the path he wants to take. And as he comes around, I'm going to go to the very end, I'm going to zero that out. Have him look maybe like that. So I got his head. I'm going to turn IK on his head so I can move his body independently, or his torso independently. So I think he's going to look with his head, and then he's going to turn with his upper body just a little bit. Not too much. We don't want him to look like RoboCop, right? Like RoboCop's like, and then walks, right? So we don't want that. So I'm going to have him like turn with his upper body just a little bit. And then right about here, probably, I'll go to the very end and straighten out his body first. Zero out his body. All right, so now I kind of got his body kind of looking in that direction. So what are some of the other things that happen when you walk around a corner? Let me think. Plot to skeleton, plot to control rig. I think I'm going to have to turn IK on his feet for this. Because what else happens is you kind of lean into the walk, right? So what are we working on tonight? Okay, yeah, let's do a quick recap. So tonight's going to be a little bit different for those of you just joining. Instead of like going through like just a tutorial and then doing some work afterwards based off the tutorial, I'm doing problem solving. Like with the scenario, what if you're given the direction by the director to take a straight walk and have it go around a corner? So there was a guy or a person, I guess I don't know if it's a guy or a gal, on YouTube who posted a comment or a question in one of my videos saying, how can you take that straight walk and make it go around a corner? And I've been thinking about it. How do you take a straight motion capture walk and get them to go around a corner? And I had this epiphany the other Monday when I was driving home from work, and I go, wait, I got an idea how I can make this work. It's not something I've ever had to do. I've always been able to capture what I need, but yeah, so I mean, I've done it janky ways before with story and all sorts of other methods, but then I thought about it. I came up with this, and tonight we're going to try it out. I may fail miserably, but at least I tried, and we're just going to experiment and see kind of where things go. See, sometimes my hand arm moves in the direction of the turn. Yeah, that's true. So yeah, because what's happening is your head starts to turn, then maybe your torso starts to turn as you are now engaged in the new direction that you're going to be walking. Again, I'm not worried about his feet sliding too much right now. We're going to go back and we're going to fix that. I think one of the things that happens is you tend to lean a little bit into your turn because you're compensating for the centrifugal force. And I'm getting little ghost keys down here. I don't know if you guys see this, which is an indication of Motionbuilder needing to be restarted. So let's see how far I can get before I have to reboot Motionbuilder. So right here, I think I'm going to lean them in just a little bit. I don't want too much. Just a little bit of a lean. And then as he's coming into the corner, maybe a little bit more. But not much. I don't want to overdo it. Might even bring him down just a hair. I don't want him to walk all squat-legged, but yeah. Maybe too much. Maybe too much right there. Let me straighten him back up. Set a key, and then zero. Zero mount. Yeah. So good comment was made by probably the arm would be turning in the direction. So you can see a key right here, but you can't see a key down in here. And that's because Motionbuilder needs to be restarted because it got tired. So let me save that. I'm going to quit Motionbuilder and I'm going to reboot it. All right, that wasn't too painful. Yay, technology. All right, so if I go and select, what was I selecting? I was selecting hips, chest, arms. Arms, that's what I was working on. Let's go to that animation layer, set a 0 key. Maybe, oh, he's got, his hands are pinned. Unpin those. Don't need those pinned right now. So maybe this comes in a little bit like that. Zero that out to get back to the original mocap. I think I'm gonna have his arm go out to help counterbalance himself, maybe. I don't know. I'm experimenting, people. And then back to 0. Also, feet turning. Oh yeah, W and E keys, pinning. I'm currently using Maya, so yeah. So W and E is like translation rotation for me. Let's see, rotation. So 0 key, 0 key. Let's rotate this foot out like that. He's going to kind of be stepping into the curve, point his knee in the general direction. Copy that key. As he comes up, paste that key, and then go back to my 0 key. Let's look at his other foot real fast. 0 key. I think I want his foot and his leg pointing a little more in this direction, kind of like into the curve, right? I want it to hit here. His legs are starting to IK out. That's kind of what I was trying to be careful with, and that's why I was kind of adjusting his hips a little bit. Let's look at his hips. F curves, Y. Let's lower that down just a bit. Yeah, there he goes. I don't know if you could see that. It was pretty minute. It was right up there, so I kind of moved it down to where you get a little bit of bend in the knees. Oh, look, I'm messing up the front of the curve. Let me undo that a couple times. I almost forgot. So there's a great tip that we were given last week, and it has to do with fall off radius, which I thought was amazing, by the way. I still had that on, so now I need to turn that off. 0. That way when I grab this, I'm not doing a soft select of keys. So where was I? Right there. Let's bring him down a bit. There we go. Probably play with some of these other curves just a little bit. There. And there. There, that's taken some of that out of his legs. So, all right, so he's stepping forward and he's kind of turning his foot into the turn. And then we want to zero it out right about there. And there. All right. He could probably lead a little bit with his hips too, but I think I'll worry about his hip direction in a little bit. I don't think that's something I need to concentrate on right now. But I think I am going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I've decided I'm going to use auxiliary pivots on him. So I could probably come in here and create a few auxiliary pivots before I plot everything down. So I'm going to look to see where his feet are striking. In this case, he's striking on the heel of his foot. So I'm just going to come in here and create an auxiliary pivot. And I'm going to put it right down here at the heel of his foot, right where we're making contact with the ground. Right about there. And zero it to the plane of the ground. As he comes down, I think I'm going to create another one, but I'm going to put it on the ball of his foot. So I'm going to create another one, auxiliary pivot. And this one I'm just going to snap to his toe. Line, translation. You don't have to worry about rotation because it keeps the rotation of whatever joint you have selected or you're basing it off of. So it'll be the same local as the foot in this case. Yeah, I was thinking about doing the toe, but I feel like the foot's probably the better solution for now. I could be wrong. I guess we'll find out, right? So now I've got this, and right now the IK is turned off, right? So I can grab this and I can move them around and rotate by that auxiliary pivot. But if I turned it on, you can see that there's no motion, or there's no curves on that joint at all. So there we go. Now I'm going to do the other foot real fast. So he strikes right there. So let's create another auxiliary pivot. And stick it right down there on his heel. Zero that to the ground. Yeah, that'll work. Let's create one more. And align it to the toe. Translation. There we go. But I want those to be baked because I'm going to use those as my foot IK instead of the standard foot IK, which you see turned on right now in green. So let's just plot this down. All right. Now if I turn I gotta turn the feet off for this to work. Come over here and turn these on. Those should be driving the feet now. So what I'm going to do next, I am going to create some nulls. I think I'm going to start with where the foot is planted. I think that might be a good place to start with. So elements and null. Drag a null up in here, align. Translation is all we need. Oh, undo that. I almost forgot I'm still on pivot mode. Hit Q to go back to model mode. There we go. That was a mistake. Line translation. All right. I'm going to do another null. I'm going to give that to his toe. Line translation. This is probably where you want to go in and actually name these something like left foot 1 or something, heel toe. So let's experiment now. Let's see how it works if I create a constraint. So let's go to my constraints. And I'm going to do a position constraint. I'm just going to drag it up into here. Go to my navigator, constraints. Oh, look at all that junk in there. All right, let's create a folder real fast. Insert folder. I'm going to just throw all this extra stuff in here that we're not working with. Oh. There we go. Actually, I'm going to delete that and recreate it. So it's underneath that folder. I'm going to duplicate that because I'm going to want 2 of these. All right, so. What is it, dogs? What is it? Got the dogs jumping on me over here. All right, go lay down. Go lay down, dogs. Doggies. All right, so with his... Okay, so the foot that's going to be most difficult to get to work right on any time a character walks around an arc that you're trying to edit is always going to be the outside foot. And it's because it has the biggest distance to travel. So that's what I'm going to work on first. I'm going to work on that. I'm going to make sure I'm in body part mode, so I'm only messing with what I want messed with. I'm going to turn off the IK on this. And I am going to take my hill, and that's going to be my source. Well, the null I created for the hill is going to be my source. My hill itself is going to be the constrained object. I'm going to snap. Actually, let me redo that. 0. It doesn't look like anything happened. It's because the IK is turned off. If I turn it on, you can see he's trying to reach it because I zeroed it out. I don't need it zeroed out just yet. I actually want to turn my weight down to 0. If you select weight and you start keying this, you can see the key. If you unselect weight, the key disappears. So if you want to see your keys in your timeline here, you just click on that. So at 0, and he'll strike right about there. Let's say, I'm going to be doing two things in unison. So I'm going to turn that on to 100. I'm going to key that. I'm going to take this, I'm going to key that on. Key. I want to go back to this first one, and I want to key that off. Key. So let's see how that. Let's see if this works. This will be exciting. Yeah, he's kind of placing it in place a little bit, right? I can probably help that along by setting a key on the leg itself. That will create an offset in the animation. And then come back here and say 0. So I want to 0 out that initial pose. And I think the dogs have to use the restroom. And I don't want them going in my office. So just give me a second. I'm going to go run and let the dogs outside. Just give me a sec. Come on, you dogs. Go. Let's go. All right, accident averted. Or not. All right, so let's see here. Set my 0 key there, or yeah. It's gonna come in and it's gonna blend to that spot and hit, and it's gonna lock. Shunk. It's not perfect, but at least we're getting kind of a hill strike now, right? And then I want it to blend to the toe. To right there, maybe? Let me see. Yeah, probably right about there for now. It's all experimental. So position, here we go. So I want to, that will be the source. The other null will be the constrained. Going to 0. That will snap it. That will snap the auxiliary pivot to the null. If I click snap, it would set the constraint with an offset. So I want that to be on right here. This that position constraint. There. I'm going to select weight so I can see my key. It's trying to pull. So try there. Let's go back. Set that key there. I'm going to do the same thing with the toe. Key, key, and then key, key. And I'm going to set an offset key just in case. Hey there. So he's going to step. Now I think I want the heel to let go, because I don't want the heel and the toe to be fighting each other, which is kind of what's happening right now. So I think I will key this off here. Do I want it on here? I might want it on there. I'm not worried about the toe going through the ground. Let's do that. Let's go up to this. And we need to release it. So let's set a key. That's an offset key for the whole leg. Now my brain's having to work. I have lots of moving parts right now. So then I will... Oh, I had weight selected, so it should have already set a key when I hit set key, right? If I'm not mistaken. Oh. Key. So key. And then come back here. I'm going to blend that off. Key. I was wondering, like in Star Citizen, how you made the animation like walking collide correctly with the dynamic environment, like small rocks and stairs. That is a complex question. It's a good question, but it's a very complex question. We have in-game IK, and there's ray tracing. A lot of games have this, by the way. It's not just Star Citizen. And they're able to detect collision. And they say, all right, you're going to hit this collision, you're not going to go through it. And it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. We have special joints inside our skeleton that help with that process, if that makes sense. But yes, games do have IK in it. We IK arms to weapons all the time. So left arm is usually driven by the weapon, which is being driven by the right arm. So here we go. Okay, so that's off. So it comes up, but I want to get back to a 0 in the passing pose. So I'm going to set 0 on his foot right there. He kind of slides, right? Kind of has this little sliding motion. What happens if I play with this key? No, not much. That's not too bad. I don't think that's too bad. I mean, come on, I took a straight walk and I'm like putting it around a corner. What more do you want from me? All right, so he takes 2 steps. So that means I get to do that again at the end of the walk. Now, I could do this a couple different ways. I've already got my constraints set up. I could key these here and then quickly move them into place and key them there and continue working with my constraints that I've already set up. Or I could create 2 more nulls, 2 more position constraints, and have it re-snap using different constraints. So sometimes you have to ask yourself, what is the, I don't want to say simplest way to do this. What is the, I guess what is the best way? Which way means less work for me when it comes down to it? There's already a lot of moving parts. I think if I animate the nulls into place, it's just one element versus adding like 4 more elements, because I have to add 2 more position constraints and I have to add 2 more nulls. And so yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna key those nulls here, there. Let's see, let's unselect that weight, select those keys there. All right, so those are the keys are set there. I'm going to move forward to the end frame because that's the resting point for his foot. Let's move those into place. So that's the heel, align, translation, align, translation. All right, so we got to do this again. Oh, I guess it helped set a key, right? Set key. Set key, but I don't want those keys to be at the end. I actually want them to be closer to here where the heel strike is. So a lot of times when I have to do this, I'll probably set my curve to stepped. So it's just like, it's here and then it's like there, just within a frame. In fact, I might just do that, but without stepped. It's there and now it's there. All right, so it's same deal, right? This one, come in, we're going to, oh, I forgot to turn the toe off. Ha! Too many working parts. So his foot comes up, and his toe should come off. His toe should fly off of his body. His toe should be off. Turn that back on there, make sure that's set. Oh yeah, that's a lot better. Yeah, his foot's not sliding so much anymore. In fact, I can even come in here to F-curves and play with the timing of its blend. Maybe I'll pull that in a little bit. Maybe I'll pull this one this way a little bit. Like a frame. That's better. All right. Back to the heel. It's going to come in and that's a 0 key. That's his plant foot. Where he plants it. Let's see here. Navigator. If I'm mumbling too much, it's just I'm thinking through a bunch of things in my head on how to make this work. Let's see. So if I want to turn this on here, turn that on. Okay. I want it off here, which it's not quite off, so off there. And as he comes in, oh, that's the toe. I made a mistake. I made a mistake. Let's undo those keys. There we go. Heel. There we goes. Key. Off, key. His foot's a little high, but I can fix that. And then he comes down, and his foot should be in place right there. That's where I need to turn on the toe. So I'll set a quick key right there to mark my place with that heel. Toe. I think it needs to be turned on. The position constraint needs to be turned on. Heel probably needs to be turned off. Toe. toe off. A lot of moving parts in this. Set my key on that leg. And let's see, 0 maybe? It's a little janky. I think part of it is because that hill's coming up so high. I don't think it would come up that high. I'll just tilt that down a little bit and rotate it in. It's a little bit of a slide. Maybe I need to leave the hill on. I'm not... Yeah, let's leave that hill on. Let's see how that works. There we go. Not super great, but at least his feet aren't ice skating all over the place. Ah, that was a lot of work. All right. Guess what we get to do now? We get to do the left foot. We get to do the left foot next. Yeah, not too bad. Let's kind of let's go to this frame. Let's go look at the walk real fast. Oh, of course he's got IK on his foot. Let me turn off the control rig. So you can see there's the walk. That's what it looked like. So we took the walk, which essentially is that. Oh, there we go. We took the walk and we are getting him to walk in a circle. And the walk was kind of glidey like this. And when I turn on the control rig, and see, there's a little bit better foot contact. I think there's a little bit too much angle in his foot when he's coming up right here. I think his foot should be out this way a little bit. Set that key. There he goes. A little bit better. Little bit better. Not 100% better, but a little bit better. All right. All right, let's save so we don't lose our progress. And let's look at that left foot. Welcome to the life of a motion editor animating some motion capture because the director decided to go in a different direction by making him go in a different direction. All right, let's get a couple of nulls in there. I should really rename these positions. I'm going to call this L left heel. And left toe. Left toe. That way I don't get confused. All right. I need to work on my dad jokes. Is that considered a dad joke? Is it a dad joke because it's a bad joke? Or bad jokes, dad jokes? Is that how it works? See, line, translation, all. Line, translation, all. There we go. Let's get these into place. I think I want to do that first. set a key here on both of those. And I'll probably set a key there. Probably right about here. Line, translation, all. Set that key. Heel, line, translation, all. Set key. All right. Now let's make that jump in a single frame. There you go, they're there, and now they're there. Let's add a couple more constraints. And these are position constraints. We call this right heel. And right toe. So what's he doing here? So now what I'm doing is I'm analyzing his foot. I don't think I need to constrain his heel here. I think I can just constrain his toe here. So I'm going to try that first. So right toe, this would be the source, and that would be the constrained. So zero that out. I'm going to turn the heel off for now. Let me go ahead and set up the heel while I'm thinking about it. So that would be the source, and that would be the heel. Oh, I hit snap. I didn't mean to do that. I meant to hit zero. Zero, because I don't want an offset. Alright. But I'm going to turn the weight off of the heel for now. So 0 on the heel. 0. Alright, so let's look at the toe. Hey, that's kind of cool. Look at that. It's just pivoting right on the ball of his foot. Again, I'm not really concerned about the toe dipping through the floor. That can be taken care of later. So I'm going to set a 0 key here for that entire leg. And probably right about here's where I probably want to start releasing things. So, toe, let's key that. Right toe, auxiliary effector, let's key that. Now I'm going to come up here. You can see it's like trying to stay there. I'm going to turn that off. I can always play with these curves here to sec to make it a little bit nicer. Key, turn this off, set a key. He kind of picks his foot up kind of high, doesn't he? For that step. But again, not super worried about that. Whoa, his foot's way up there. The reason is because there's an offset. So I'm gonna come to his passing pose, which is here, and I'm going to set a 0 key. There we go. Let me go to my F curves. All right, so there's no key on his legs there. Yeah, no key on his leg. That should be fine. Let's see. So I have this weird idea. In a game like Star Citizen, could you have a character collision with other characters? Like if I run and can I push other players and we both fall, maybe even even break a leg. Absolutely, and different games handle that in different ways. Some games use actual physics, where with collision, so all characters have like a fizz mesh. That's what we call it, fizz mesh, or like little cylinders that you fit around the different joints of the body. They're usually like capsules or boxes or spheres, and it's real simple geometry, so that the calculations aren't absolutely horrible. So when a character like ragdolls into a box because maybe you have an explosion and they die, or two characters bump into each other and need to like collide, depending on your physics engine, it's smart enough to go, okay, you're just bumping the shoulder. In Ghostbusters, which by the way is being remastered, I just discovered, it's a game I worked on, we had collision where hands, I don't know if you can see me so well, let me switch over to my camera. There we go. So we had physics where when you're walking, you could like go up to a chair or a table in your Ghostbuster. If you're like running around and you hit, your arm will do this and like glide and bump and collide with objects. And it was a very simple code that the programmers wrote to be able to kind of have that kind of like feeling like you're in the worlds where you can actually bump into things. Other times, hit reactions, like maybe you're getting shot, or maybe there's a physical bump where you're kind of like bumping into an NPC or something. A lot of times that will be a canned animation because maybe you can't run physics for various reasons. Maybe the game's really heavy or something with other things. So you'll have a hit reaction where the character will go like, hey, what's going on? Maybe even fall to the ground, depending on if it's a light, medium, or a heavy hit. And so I hope that answers your question. So yes, you can have physics and physically bump one character into another character. And that's if code lets you. It's all up to code. All right, so I'm going to take my 0 key. I'm going to try pushing it this way a little bit. I'm going to try put my 0 key there. That's okay. I'm going to undo that. Just leave it right there. All right, so now he's going to come in here and he's going to do a hill strike, but I want him to hill strike there. Oh, how is it expensive? You have millions of calculations happening every second in a game. You're rendering out draw calls. You're figuring out joints, moving meshes. If you have particle effects on the screen, it starts taxing your RAM. It taxes your CPU. It taxes your GPU. We try to have tricks that offload the cost of like skinning characters, for example, and we'll skin characters on the GPU rather than the CPU. But it's a balancing act. It's trying to figure out where do you want to put the focus in on your game. Basically, there was that game. It was oh my gosh, what was it called? It was a noir game, and the whole game was based off of being able to read expressions. And they did a lot of tech to get like as realistic expressions and speech in a character as possible. L.A. Noire, that's it. I knew it was a noir. It was a noir game, and they spent their entire budget practically on heads of characters because that's what was important for that game. Other games are super particle heavy, so that's where they spend their budget. Games like Star Citizen. I almost feel like we don't have a budget. And you're going to have to get some sort of crazy mineral liquid-cooled system running on liquid nitrogen in order to be able to run our game at some point. But yeah, even we have to worry about draw calls on spaceships. We have to worry about draw calls on characters. We have to worry about what we attach to a character. So anyway, I hope that helps to answer your question about expensive and what I mean by expensive. All right, so he's going to come in and he's going to whomp to right there. So I wonder if that's a good or bad place for his foot. I guess that's an okay place for his foot. He's going to come in and he'll strike right here. He'll just turn that on. Set a key. Come over to my navigator. Find my right heel. And I want that turned all the way up. Set a key. Let's go backwards in time. We want that turned off. Set a key. Want this turned off. Key. I think his foot comes down right there. Not quite on this, but that's okay because what I can do is I can align this to here. Nothing says I can't do that. Oh, I messed up. Align, translation. Accidentally bumped a key button. So I'm going to copy those keys and paste them over the old keys. There we go. Now I want to turn the toe on. I think I want to turn the toe on. I think I want to turn the toe on. And turn the hill off. Why is his toe off? Let's figure this out. I wonder if there is an offset in this. Oh, no, it's because it's not on. That's why. Let's turn that on. There we go. And turn that off there. Oh, that it catches his toe and he trips. I think I'm going to start keying it off right here. So set that key here. Right toe, because I had this selected when I set my key for the body. It actually set a key for here because it was selected. So things that you have selected and you set a key will get a key. Set a key. Come up here. Let's turn that off. Key, 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 key. There we go. And then I want to go back to a 0 key, 0, right there. Wait, that should be on. Why is that not on? I want that on right there. Yeah, let's key that. So anyways, I hope you guys and gals are enjoying this. let's see, would you want to use floor contacts here to aid in preventing the foot from going through the floor? Yes, I think I would. I think I would, Travdar, want to do that. But I don't think I want to do it now. I think I want to do that in a separate pass. I think right now I really want to work on not making sure the feet aren't ice skating around. But anyways, yeah, I just want to remind you guys, if y'all are enjoying this and you have a Twitch Prime, there's always that Twitch Prime gift. Monthly subscription. Then you can get this little cool little icon here. Say hello, Lupin. Lupin says hello. Little doggy icon. By the way, for those of you watching, I have a teaser for next week's tutorial. So stick around, because something cool, something really cool has been brewing, and I'm really excited about it. And I don't want to talk about it in particularly, but right now, because I'm working a few things out, but I got a little teaser for you all coming up. Coming up at the end of this broadcast. His leg kind of kicks back pretty far, doesn't it? Let's figure this out. So he kind of kicks back. What happens if I move this way? What happens if I move it that way? If I move this way, it seems... Whoa, then it really kicks up. That's a little bit better. Not 100% great, but a little bit better. I think this needs to be down on the ground. So I'm just kind of playing with my with all the variables at work right now. Oh, the brewing jokes. Yes, you're right. I didn't even catch my own dad joke. Not the best. But we could probably work this a little bit more. But for tonight, I think we're going to call this part of it done. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to plot all this down. Plot to control rig. I don't want any of my constraints to actually affect me going forward, at least not right now. So I'm going to select all of them and I'm just going to unactivate them. That way I don't have to worry about them. I think I'm going to turn off my my auxiliary pivots. Just to make sure everything's turned off. And unkey all the keys by clicking the little A, which stands for animation. I'm going to do another plot and bake. Just be on the safe side. All right, he's a little hanky, a little janky, little hitches here and there. Especially that foot. I got to fix that foot. I'm going to turn IK back on to my feet. Just going to do a little bit more normal editing. I might do this in the base animation layer F curves. Let me see what's going on with this curve. Yeah, look at that curve. It's kind of weird. Right there. Ooh, that's horrible. So I like it to right there, but then it just kind of goes crazy. So I'm just going to go and I'm going to delete those curves. And I think I'm going to just add a little bit right there. That'll work. I'm going to plot, and plot. I think I'm going to add a smooth to this. So let me go select his control rig. Select all the curves. Add a smooth filter. I have to stretch this up so I can see all my smooth filter settings. So I'm going to do a small value of like 2. Reset. I'm going to do that a couple times. Smooth. I don't want to do a value of 4 because it can actually mess up your curves. I like to do very small incremental smooths. So I think 2 is good. 2 smooths a value of 2. It's a little bit better. I think I'm going to come in here. I'm going to do a quick fix to his hips because his hips are bothering me. Turn IK onto his chest. Pin his chest. Go into an animation layer. So his head, his shoulders. I'm going to get his hips to turn a little bit. Like that. When he comes out, I'm going to zero it out. Add a little bit of turn right there. Well, there you go. All right. So he's walking around a corner. I think I'm gonna put a box in here so I have something to reference. Properties, asset browser, cube. All right, so he's gonna walk around this. We have something visually for him to walk around. There you go. That's just for us. Little box for us to reference. All right, so now let's go continue his walk, because I think we can continue his walk once he gets around the corner pretty easily. And we can do it in story. So we already know where he stops. He stops at frame 57. I tried my best not to actually manipulate this pose. I tried to keep it exactly what was shot. So I'm going to turn... I'm gonna splice right here because that's a little section of animation we just edited, and I'm going to insert current take, turn my story on. If I scrub through it, and then he's off into space. But I'm going to do this on a new take. No, I don't want to copy data over. I'm going to say frame start to end. That's going to fit the length of the entire animation. I'm going to select his, see which foot was down. It was his left foot. Select his left foot. I'm going to go to here. I'm going to turn my little eyedropper thing so we can see the ghost image, right? It's right there. I'm going to take this. I'm going to match this, match to previous take at the start of the selected clip, which is what I've selected. It's going to align with his left ankle effector. Catch you next week. Have a good night. And wait till next week. I got some fun stuff. Got some fun stuff planned. All right, so now he's going to be walking off into this direction. A little bit of a speed change there. So he looks like he's walking a little bit faster. So I think I might try doing a timing. Just some of the timing. I can do it right here in Story. Because I'm in a brand new take, everything's in Story. This is non-destructive. I can always go back to the original motion that's been edited. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click that. That is time compression. What's the official name for this? This is officially called Loop Scale Clips. It's the official name of that. I've kind of learned that it's good to come over here and turn on no snap. Even though if you're working in Story, I've seen weird things happen with snap-on. If he needs to go a little bit faster, it's not much. So I'm just going to compress that a couple of frames. Like 3 frames. I'm going to see what 3 frames does. Yeah, it's a little bit better. Speed's matching a little bit better. Squeeze this in here so a little bit faster. That's better. Frame this, frame start to end. We're going to plot that down. Plot skeleton, plot to control rig. So now he's walking around that corner. So to recap for some of you who may just be joining me, what we're doing is we're doing a proof of concept here. We are I was asked a question, how can I make a piece of motion capture of a guy walking straight forward? How can we make him go around a corner? And normally the answer would be you go and shoot an actor walking the corner the way you need him to walk. And then you motion edit it together. But then you start having to calculate time and cost and when will that motion capture be delivered? What if you don't have access to more motion capture? What if you have to do it on your own? What if you don't have somebody to write a tool for you? How can we make this happen? So I took a straight walk. Let me turn off Story here so we can. So I took a straight walk, which is this. and I figured out how to motion edit it to actually go around a corner like that. Feet aren't the greatest. They're still a little bit slidey. Does need a lot of work, but I think the concept is there. And then what I'm doing is I am motion editing the walk to continue. So now the walk is continuing forward. So he's going around the corner and continuing to walk forward. Oh, let me turn story on. There we go. And he's walking around the corner. I gotta plot this down. Plot to skeleton, plot to control rig. But I think I need him to walk forward and then go around the corner. So I'm going to move this way. I'm going to copy this walking take. I'm going to paste it here. I'm going to do the opposite of what I just did before. Yeah, turn on my my little ghosting there. So I'm going to take his, what is his down foot? His down foot is left foot. So I'm going to go left foot down right there. So left foot down. I'm going to select that take. I'm going to say match to next clip. At the start of next clip, lining it with his left ankle effector. A little bit of a pop there. Let's see if we can straighten that up. Let's try his hips. Oh, I know what I did wrong. Yerk. Let me undo that a few times. Copy, paste. Go right there. I did it the wrong way. There we go. I did it backwards. All right, so let's right foot down. Wait, what did I say he starts? He starts right foot down. All right. Right foot down, right foot down. Okay. Let's try that again. This time I'm going to do it from his hips and not his foot. So match to next. There we go. I want to straighten this up, but I don't want to do it from this end. I want to do it from this other end. I'm going to have to do that under properties. So I'm going to come down into let me move this up so we can see what's going into properties. IK pivot, marker settings. Where is it? Oh, I have a character selected. Let me redo that. All right, so select that. Ghost. There it is. Start. Stop. There we go. Now I'm controlling this by the stopping point here. And 3D settings, -90. Oh, it did it from the other one. Huh, interesting. Let's move that back into place. So the pose pops because his pose doesn't match. It matched on this other side because I just kind of continued where we picked up, or where we left off. But this one doesn't match. So how do we fix that? Well, I think the solution is, I'm going to delete this. I'm going to go to the original take, which is this, and duplicate this. New. Yes, I want to copy my data. I'm going to do my walk, find where I want it to stop at, which is right about there. I'm going to cut to there, 109. All right. Now, what I want to do in order to get these to work better is I kind of want to think of these of, I need to edit each take to be able to work with the other takes. So I kind of have to think about what I'm doing to each motion, so that when I go to the other motion, I can edit it accordingly or properly, so that everything flows seamlessly. So I'm going to go story. I'm going to turn that back on. Go to that first frame. I'm going to create a pose. So I want to match that pose. So create my pose. There we go. Come in here. Redo my update my thumbnail. There we go. So we get a better thumbnail. All right, turn story back off. Go to an animation layer. I'm going to come to the end, and I'm going to paste that pose on here. So full body. There's some really cool settings and poses. And so what I want to do is I want rotation to be turned on, because when I paste my pose, I want him to make sure he's rotated in the direction I want him to go in. I also want to make sure that he is aligned to the X. So I'm going to turn X on. So my settings should look like that. And when I hit full body pose, you can see he snapped over right where the along the X where the other pose was created. If I had this turned on completely, he would have snapped back here, which actually probably would work. But I don't think I'm going to do that right now. I think I'm just let me scrub, get back to where I was at. There we go. So now I'm just gonna do rotation. I hit paste. You can see his whole body shifted. Let me set my key. Let me go back a couple to right here. I'm going to set a 0 key. And I'm going to do a little foot trick to get him into place. So he's going to come step forward. On body part mode, I'm just going to slide this forward. And this other foot, I'm just going to slide that key back like that. Turn my snapping back on. All right, so he's now ending up in the pose I want him to start in. All right, so let's paste that, or plot that, I mean. Plot the skeleton, plot the control rig. Yeah, everything looks good. So now I'm going to come back here to take 2, which is what I was messing with. Move that down this way. Insert my current take. Oh, cancel. Insert current take. There it goes. Story that. There we go. Frame start to end, so I get the full motion. You're gonna see him pop back, pop. So I'm gonna take his hips, and I'm gonna do the alignment now. So match to next take, start next clip. Turn that on so we can see the ghosting. Yeah, look at that. Not bad. Oh, Lord. There we go. I got a guy who is walking straight and put a little bend in his walk to go around a corner and continue his walk, just like the art director asked just like the art director asked of me. So there we go. I think that's it. I mean, I would say go back and clean up this going around the corner. There's a lot more work that can be done to these feet. It's not a fully edited walk by any stretch of the imagination. His hands are kind of pancakey type hands. So I probably want to put a nice pose on those hands. But I think the concept is there. I just saw something. What was that? What is this? Is that new? Oh, is it a take thing? See that little T? So normally, okay, so this is like just play it one time. Then there's this little T. And then there's this, which is loop, right? Or no, see that's play it one time. This is loop. So this should, if I go all the way to the end, it should loop. There you go, see it looped. Then there's this T. What does T mean? Does anybody know? So anyway, I forgot who asked the question on YouTube, but the question was asked, can you make them walk around a corner? And there you go. Walking around the corner. Oh, T plays through all the takes. Hey, that's pretty cool. You know what? You learn something new every day, huh? All right, so now I'm kind of like concentrating on chat. If anybody has any questions or comments, I don't know how much more I don't know where else I can take this tonight. As far as tutorials and teaching go. Is there anything you want to see or want to ask about? Thank you. I'm probably going to mess up your name. Damn it, Dehanan. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. You all are awesome. Remember, if you're a Twitch Prime, go ahead and you can do once a month. You can do a gift. You know, so when your month comes around, please think of me. That's awesome of you. Show you the puppies. Oh, I left them outside. I left the puppies outside, didn't I? I got the puppy dogs right here in the chat. I guess I can go run and grab those dogs real fast. They'll probably be like super hyper and like running around, and I have to make sure they're not humping each other in the background because they're dogs. Oh, no, my, turns out the dogs are in bed. So I can't get the dogs. They're asleep in their crates. So, anyway. That's okay. They're probably super rambunctious anyway. Alright. So, I have got my teaser. I gotta pull up my teaser real fast. And, oh, don't mean to do that. Hold on a second. Oh yes, the teaser. Hold on, I gotta mute my music for this. And I think I might have to turn up my sound a little bit. So I apologize if it's too loud. This will be next week's teaser, and this may end up being an ongoing thing here. So there you go. There's my teaser for next week. So next week I'm going to have to figure out. There's a few requirements I was given in order to be able to do next week's episode, and I'm going to have to figure out how to do it. The first requirement is I can't take any payment or donations or charity or anything monetary. I cannot receive. So I'm going to have to ask you all if you want to tip or subscribe and tip now, or wait until a later broadcast. So no money shall be exchanged. I'm going to have to look at turning off my tipping on this channel in order to be able to do next week's episode. But I did work on a game a couple years back. Company that I had done some work with in the past said, "Hey, we got some contract work for you," and I said, "Hey, cool. This is the game." I'm like, "Oh, sweet. I love the franchise," and so I did a bunch of these kills for the game, deaths and stuff. It was a lot of fun. I tell you what, I would be fried coming home from work, and I'd sit down to do these animations, and it would reinvigorate me, and I'd get super excited, and I would animate all night long till like 2 o'clock in the morning, and then get 3 hours of sleep, or get back up the next day and continue the cycle of going to work and then coming home and doing contract work in the evenings. And I finally got permission, as of today, to be able to use all the assets that I used. And I want to give a good big shout out to Gun Media and Ilphonic for giving me the opportunity to do this. They are awesome. They're a great group of guys. But anyways, more to come next week. So, before I wrap everything up, does anybody else have anything they want to talk about or ask before I end this broadcast? All right. Well, thank you all. Thank you all for joining me. I will be going on vacation, so I have one more of these tutorials left next week on Wednesday, and then I'll be gone for 2 weeks. I am going to be doing micro streams while I'm on vacation of illustrating. I can bring along my sketch pad and get my phone. I'm going to because I can Twitch stream from my phone, I'm just going to be trying to figure out how to Twitch stream what I'm drawing. Next Sunday will be my last sculpt. I actually got relatively far my little sculpt here. It's my little anatomy study I'm working on. So Sundays, now that Game of Thrones is over, maybe some of you can stop on by and check it out and say hi. And yeah, should be very cool. Smash screen, and thank you all. Have a great night. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to follow. And you all have a great night.